I'm delighted today to be able to present the 2017 VSBA Legislative Award of Excellence to the Governor of Virginia, Terrence Richard McAuliffe. Since 1985, the VSBA has presented the Legislative Award to annually recognize legislators or state officials who have worked diligently on behalf of public education and the VSBA. Governor McAuliffe is working every day to build the new Virginia economy by creating jobs in 21st century industries. A lifelong entrepreneur, Governor McAuliffe brings a common-sense business approach to his position as the Commonwealth's chief job creator. Since the start of his administration, the number of jobs in Virginia has increased by more than 215,000. Virginia's unemployment rate has declined from 5.4% in January 2014 to 3.8% today. Working across the aisle, he won bipartisan support to reform transportation, revolutionize education, and promote Virginia as a worldwide leader in cybersecurity. He has been nationally recognized for his work restoring more civil voting rights than any other governor in U.S. history. He has worked to make Virginia an open and welcoming place to do business and has led 31 trade missions to more than 24 countries. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in presenting the 2017 VSBA Legislative Award of Excellence to the 72nd Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Terrence Richard McAuliffe.
Thank you. Oh. Wow. Well, good morning, everybody. Oh, come on, you do better than that. Morning. I mean, you could have got up in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and your life would be ruined. You're here in the greatest state and the greatest nation on earth. You should be jacked up every single day. President Hundley, I thank you, and thank you all of you for this magnificent award. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I think you knew from day one when I ran for governor 4 years ago, when I came to speak to you, I told you I would make education a priority. Has to be a priority. I promised you we would shake things up, and I'd heard from too many teachers. I'd heard from too many parents. There was too much testing going on. Children were learning how to memorize, and teachers were teaching to test. That doesn't build what I call that new Virginia economy, and we said we'd do something about it. I always say, you know, I'd started 30 different companies. I've had businesses all over the country and the globe. I've had a lot of people working for me. I always like to say, really doesn't matter to me what that person got on a grade in school or what he got on the SATs, really didn't. If I had a problem in my home building company or my apartment complexes, shopping mall, I need someone who's going to solve that problem. And that's cognitive thought process, creative reasoning. I call it street smarts. That's more important than anybody else, and that's what we had to get back to as an education system. So we came in, we put a lot of big goals. I'm very proud of the work that we have gotten done over the last 4 years. We have done it in a bipartisan way. Both Democrats and Republicans have come together on this issue to move Virginia forward. As President Hundley said, I talk a lot about the economy. I talk about the issues that relate to the economy. You've heard the numbers. I always say let the numbers speak for themselves. We are almost at structurally full employment today in Virginia. We're down to 3.8. It went from 5.4 all the way to 3.7. We've created, as he said, 216,000 new jobs. The issue I face as governor today is we have too many open jobs that we cannot fill. Right now, as you all heard me talk, and you're sick of hearing me say it, but I'll keep saying it, we have 36,000 cyber jobs open today in Virginia. The starting pay is $88,000. Now, you don't need a 4-year degree. You need a high school degree, and then a little bit, probably community college, could be 6 months. And we can move you into an $88,000 cyber job. This is important. I've traveled the world to bring these jobs back. I just finished my term as chairman of the National Governors Association, and cyber was the whole emphasis of what I tried to do to get all 50 states up. It's the hottest space out there. Virginia last year, we had 78 million cyber attacks, just the Commonwealth of Virginia. They got into our 9/11 system. They're trying to get our records. We collectively as states have more data than the federal government. The driver's license, the Medicaid, all the data we have on all of that. So tax returns. So people are constantly trying to get it. We have 656 cyber companies today, folks, in Virginia. That is spectacular. but we've got to fill these jobs. We're the #1 state today on data. We have more data centers. Just last week in Prince William County, Iron Mountain, $350 million investment up there in Prince William County. I'm going to have a massive announcement in the next 10 days on another big data center. Did you know that 70% of the world's internet traffic travels through Virginia? Ashburn, Virginia, 70%. We lead the nation today, folks, on unmanned aerial system, drones. I just unveiled the first drone runway in America. 3,000-foot runway at Wallops Island, the only one. That's how we're getting all this new technology. We just did a project with Amazon. We delivered Chipotle meals to Virginia Tech students by drone. We're delivering medicine in areas that it's not easy to get to in an emergency. We're leading on all these issues. As you probably saw in the paper, I was the first governor to go up in an unmanned vehicle the other day. At the unveiling of the runway, I went up in a drone, went up, a robot was in the front seat, and I hit a button on my laptop, and it took off, went down the runway, and 8 miles over the ocean. And then, more importantly, I hit land, it turned around, it came back and actually landed. But I tell you what was amazing about this thing, it landed on an X on the runway. I mean, it was fascinating, a little robot in front, me and this little robot. So I'm having some fun here the last few months. I'm getting to do stuff they didn't let me do before. You probably saw I just jumped out of a plane at 10,000 feet with a parachute the other day that landed into a Wounded Warrior event in Virginia Beach. These guys don't even care what I do anymore. Let them jump. Who cares? Let them get at it. But the point in all this is we now have to fill these jobs. 140,000 technology jobs opened last year in Virginia. So the key challenge now is making sure our education system works so that when people graduate, they got the skills. I call it putting that connective tissue together. And I want to thank the Virginia School Board Association because we have leaned in. This would not happen without your leadership. I can make all the pronouncements I want in Richmond. You're on the ground. You're moving these things forward. But you understand it, and I want to thank you for the great work that you've done. We've redesigned all of our high schools. Fabulous. We've got rid of 5 SOLs. They were just not what we need. You go ahead and clap for that. I mean, and the louder you clap, the more SOLs I get rid of, let me tell you. But we just had too many tests going on. We've now added, as you know, computer science, computational reasoning, now part of our core curriculums. In Virginia, this year, the first state in America, when you go to kindergarten, you are now taught the concepts of cybersecurity beginning in kindergarten. No other state in America is doing that. Well, what does that mean? We can continue to bring in these great cyber companies here to Virginia, the big data companies. I wish you could have been with me the other day. The new cable that just came in from Europe, came in from Spain, Balboa, Spain, which will now do all of Spain, part of Europe, all of the Middle East, and all of Africa. That fiber optic cable, where did it come? Came to Virginia. We just connected it the other day at Virginia Beach. That is going to be a game changer going forward for us. So changing that education system to do what we need to do, and you've all been responsible for that, and I just can't thank you enough for the great work that you have done. Our high schools now in Virginia, there are a lot of high schools in America, folks, today that just aren't working. I've always said this, they were built for the Industrial Revolution. We got to call it for what it is. They were big buildings with classroom with seats. You got credit for seat time. That is immaterial to a new 21st century disruptive economy that we have that exists today. You've seen the report, 60% of the jobs of the future, 60% over the next decade will require a high school degree, some post-high school, but less than a 4-year degree. It's a different economy today. And so the whole crux of this is really what you have done at our school boards to really realign. We now have the best, I believe, the best education system in America. Our high schools are working. They're working because of you. On-the-job training, internships, externships. There's no other state doing what we're doing here. We're building on credentials. I did an executive order number 23, my workforce credential performance grant, the only state in America to do it. We got 140 industry credentials in 7 business clusters. And if you go get one of those industry credentials, we'll pay 2/3 of the cost. And I just announced last week, 50,313 industry credentials were received last year in Virginia, more than any state in the United States of America. That is important because that's how you lure these businesses. Last night, I had 3 site selectors at dinner at the mansion last night. till about midnight. Boy, these Europeans can drink, I tell you. Golly, I didn't think I'd ever get them out of the house, but whatever. It was important because, yeah, well, I had to do it. It wasn't easy. I mean, somebody's got to do it. But these site selectors are the key because they're the ones that are in their countries, and a business says, I want to go to America, where do I go? I'm telling you, there's no one more important in workforce development than these site selector companies. So we had these 3 last night. Our whole discussion was about education. Now, Germany's done, 2 were from Germany. Germany's done a very well job on workforce credentialing. But it's our education system is why they're going back now. They'll be here, they're at the port right now, and then they're traveling all over. They're going to leave tomorrow. They are all hepped up because of all the things I told them that you are doing on education, of why we're going to be able to recruit a lot of these businesses to come here. I just announced that we got Nestle Corporation, the single largest consumer product company in the globe. $9 billion a year of sales. They were in Los Angeles. We just moved them. They're now in Rosalind, Virginia. A lot of high-paying jobs. And so in the recruitment, I'd met with the CEO a bunch of times. And after it was over and they decided on Virginia, I went out there and brought a case of wine, and we all sat around drinking that beautiful Virginia wine. I mean, you can't drink that lighter fluid in California. I mean, you got to drink the real stuff, Virginia wines. And at the end of the dinner, I asked him honestly, why Virginia? And you know what he said to me? Your public education. And because of Nestle, we're now in the game bringing a lot of other businesses in. But he said it's education. What incentives, what in our beautiful ocean front or our mountains or our 325 wineries or 226 craft breweries, it was public education. So when I talk about all these great economic successes, folks, it's really your success because you are on the front line implementing all of these different policies. And to all the folks on the school board, to our principals, to our superintendents, and to all of our teachers, I wanted to be here today and say thank you to you. We've had great success, but I couldn't do any of this without you, and you really should take part in this great success. You have built that new Virginia economy. We cannot take our foot off the gas. We've got to continue to invest in education. As you know, working together in a bipartisan way, we put up $1 billion last year for education, the single largest investment in Virginia history. We did 2 pay raises for our teachers. They'd gone way too long without having pay raises. We got to respect our teachers. We got to give our teachers what they're due. And I think it's important, I'm not going to make today political, but you know, we can't be having tax cuts right now. I think probably Delegate Landis would have to agree with me. I mean, we've got some serious budget issues. We got to keep investing. We're not going to do tax cuts and hurt our ability to invest in our education system. We're not out of sequestration, folks. Let me be very clear. We are going to have a continuing resolution in fiscal year 18. Congress is getting nothing done, and we've already been told there's going to be no budget agreement. So that means sequestration will be the law of the land. We get hit more than any other state in America. Last year, $54.7 billion, about 10% of the GDP. Another cut on sequestration next year could have a debilitating impact on our economy. In 11 through 13, before I got here, we lost $9.8 billion. This is serious stuff. I've got to deal with a budget where I got to re-benchmark the SOQs. I got to deal with the existing Medicaid program, which could be another $1 billion of existing folks in Medicaid that I have to deal with. I've got a hole in transportation because unfortunately the bill passed, said that we would get the internet sales tax, which never passed Congress. So I got to fill probably a $160 million hole there. So I have some big challenges. But through all the challenges, and when I came into office, as you know, in my first year, a budget that, sort of crazy here, I'll do the outgoing budget for the next governor, which sounds to me, we got to fix that, Steve. That doesn't make any sense. But in my first budget, I inherited a $2 billion hole. I didn't write the budget, I inherited it. But I'm telling you, through all those tough times, we're working together. We never scrimped on education. We continued to fund education. And last year, we had to make some more cuts. Not an ounce of cuts came to K through 12. We understand at the state level really how important you all are. The final thing I want to say thank you to you've all worked on is my wife for 29 years, the First Lady of Virginia. Dorothy's whole effort has been around the childhood feeding program. When we came into office, there were 300,000 food insecure children in Virginia. And what does that mean? That means that they don't have access to a meal. Many of our children may not have dinner, and then they come to our schools in the morning, and if they don't have access to a healthy breakfast, you all know it, absenteeism goes up, discipline goes up, and test scores go down. Pretty clear. Our children are hungry to learn. They cannot learn when they're just plain hungry. So we teamed up with No Kid Hungry, breakfast after the bell program that all of our schools are doing today. And she and I just announced, we were at Suburban Park down in Norfolk the other day where we unveiled it. I'm very proud to say that last year we served 10 million more meals than the year we came into office. So. And I'm sure you've all seen it. I go to these schools all the time. These little kids, they come in. No more putting folks into a cafeteria, because you want to talk about stigmatizing. Oh, those are the poor kids in there getting a no. There's none of that anymore. We have the breakfast after the bell. Everybody comes in. Everybody can have a breakfast. You get a little bag with a sausage biscuit, an orange, apple maybe, milk, and orange juice. And you go in your homeroom now, and you have it there in the homeroom. Teachers love it. Our scores have gone up. Discipline problems have gone down, absenteeism has gone down, and it's great. And I always bring everything back to economics. Forget the moral issue, which is the thing we need to take care of our children because they're our future, but put that aside. As I made clear to the superintendents when I met with the superintendents, you keep coming to me for money. You get reimbursed $2.15 per breakfast, 100% by the federal government. Why would we not bring this money back to feed our children? So let's just do the math. 10 million more breakfasts served, $20 million come back to us from the federal government, rolls through our local economy. They all locally source everything, our grocery stores, our farmers. That is a $20 million economic stimulus, and we at the state level put up $2.7 million. That is an 8 times return on your investment, folks. You know, even me, I tell you, that's good numbers. I mean, even I like that. So, you know, it's important that we go forward. So I just want to thank all of you here today. We've made great progress. I think we are now, I know we are, everybody in the globe looks at us and what we have been able to do here. We have led the nation on education reform. We have led the nation on workforce development. We are now cranking on our economy. We cannot take it off, but none of it would happen without you folks here in the school boards, because you have to do this. I thank you. Let's continue to be aggressive. I think we need to look at middle schools and high schools. 2/3 of the underserved children on meals are now in our middle school and high schools, so I would encourage you to go back to your principals and your superintendents, get in the game on this. Let's bring more of that money back. Let's make sure that our folks are healthy as we go forward and continue to do that. But this is a great honor for me, but I also have an honor too here, folks, that I'm going to do a proclamation. You know, between legislators and governors, we like to do our proclamations, but this one is important for me because I'm going to declare that November is Take Your Legislator to School month here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So, let me say this. By virtue of the authority vested by the Constitution of Virginia and the Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, it is hereby officially recognized Virginia School Boards Association Take Your Legislator to School month, whereas it is critical that all students in Virginia are afforded the opportunity to receive a quality education in Virginia's public schools, and whereas a strong and effective public school system is essential to the economic prosperity of Virginia and ensures that we continue to make social, technological, and scientific advancements, and whereas school boards and legislators must work together to promote the academic standards and excellent facilities that help all of Virginia's students become productive, hard-working individuals, whereas Virginia school boards play a critical role in fostering close relationship between schools and legislators to strengthen and improve Virginia's public education system, and whereas the support of our legislators contributes significantly to the success and achievement of our Virginia public schools, whereas Virginia School Boards Association Take Your Legislator to School month serves as an opportunity to promote productive and meaningful relationships between their state legislators and local education providers, and whereas the VSBA Take Your Legislator to School month is also an opportunity to acknowledge the hard work and the dedication of the professionals working to strengthen our Virginia public schools. Now, therefore, I, Terrence R. McAuliffe, do hereby recognize November 2017 as Virginia School Boards Association Take Your Legislator to School month in our great Commonwealth of Virginia, and I call this order upon all of her great citizens. All right, here we go. In fact, let's have our legislators come on up. Steve, David, come on up. We sign the oath. Let's stand up and hear for our great legislators here. All right, here we go. Boom, there we are, everybody. Like the Magna Carta. Pretty fancy. Yeah. Thank you, buddy. So, folks, thank you all. And as I say, I've had a great working relationship with the legislative branch, controlled by Republicans. I'm a Democrat, but you know what? We did put partisan issues aside when it comes to education, when it comes to transportation, when it comes to the issues of education, as I say, and economic development. We have all come together. We may disagree on social issues, but we should disagree. We come from different parties. But we do come together for the sake of the Commonwealth in building that new Virginia economy, and you have all been great instrumental partners. And thank you, God bless you, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.